In the soft embrace of morning light, when the world is still stretching awake and the first glow of the sun kisses the edges of a new day, Meghan Sussex chose to share a glimpse so extraordinary, so layered in beauty and meaning, that it has left hearts racing and the internet captivated in awe. It was not a palace ball, not a red carpet affair, not a staged press moment carefully choreographed to impress. Instead, it was something infinitely more powerful, an intimate scene within the Sussex home, a moment crafted not of grandeur, but of pure, unfiltered love. And it centred on their radiant daughter, Princess Lilibet Diana, receiving the kind of surprise that only a father like Prince Harry could bring home, and only a mother like Meghan could share with the world in such an elegant, heartfelt way. This was no ordinary post. This was an offering of truth, a celebration of love, a portrait of a family that has rewritten the definition of royalty. At first glance, the scene unfolds like the opening line of a fairy tale. The setting is their kitchen, warm and alive, an embodiment of comfort and timeless beauty. Wooden tones hum quietly in the background. Polished floors glow as if infused with the golden breath of sunlight, and copper pots dangle overhead in a way that speaks of tradition, craft, and homeliness. This is not a sterile environment designed to dazzle outsiders. It is a home, a real home. And it is here, amid these glowing walls, that Prince Harry steps into his role not as duke, not as military man, not as royal escapee, but as husband and father, bearer of surprises, architect of joy. The gift he brings, wrapped in tender intention, adorned with a simple white ribbon glowing under the morning light, is not just an object. It is a vessel of meaning, a symbol of thoughtfulness, and an emblem of how love, when real, does not demand spectacle to be profound. Meghan's choice to caption the moment with only a few words is its own poetry. Morning surprise from my husband, a phrase so simple and yet so loaded with emotion that one can almost feel the weight of her gratitude, her admiration, and her awe. She did not need to write a paragraph. She did not need to explain. Those words, coupled with that tender emoji, are enough to split the armor of cynicism that so often cloaks public perception. They are a declaration. Here is a woman cherished by her husband, moved to share her astonishment not with pomp, but with sincerity. That tiny, teary-eyed face, that emoji suspended at the end of the phrase, is not digital filler. It is a sigh, a whisper, an exhale of love captured in a symbol. It completes the sentence the way a violin completes a symphony, and in its own quiet way it tells the world, I am loved, I am seen, I am grateful. And then, Lilibet, sweet, wide-eyed Lilibet Diana, who in this moment becomes the centre of the world's attention without ever asking for it. She approaches the surprise with the energy only a child possesses, that unfiltered rush of curiosity that comes when innocence meets mystery. Her tiny hands, delicate yet determined, stretch out toward the gift as though she is reaching not just for a ribbon, but for wonder itself. She is clad in her soft pajamas, embodying the comfort of home, the safety of being allowed to be a child in an environment where joy is nurtured, not orchestrated. In that fleeting second captured in Meghan's post, the world witnesses what true legacy looks like. Not crowns, not castles, not titles carved in stone, but the radiant freedom of a child raised in love. Beside the gift stands a vase of white roses, lush and full, their petals whispering purity and grace. They are not incidental decor. They are part of the tapestry, a floral hymn to beauty that crowns the countertop, with a reminder that life, at its core, is fragile and exquisite. The roses bloom with the same energy that blooms in this family's heart. Their presence beside the gift seems almost choreographed by fate. Flowers for Meghan, surprise for Lilibet, devotion from Harry. A trinity of love manifesting in objects and gestures that speak louder than speeches ever could. And then, to the side, the black and white portrait bound in ribbon, heavy with memory and emotion. It is striking in its simplicity, profound in its placement, and monumental in what it represents. Art and life meet here. Memory and present intertwine. It is as if Harry has brought home not just a gift, but a story, a reminder that love preserves, love remembers, love honours. Every detail in this glimpse is worthy of adoration. The wooden cabinetry, sturdy and dignified, speaks of foundation, much like the foundation Harry and Meghan have built together. The glowing floorboards reflect not just sunlight, but the reflection of the family's journey, shining despite the storms, warm despite the chill of the world's criticism. The copper pots hanging above are not just kitchenware, they are echoes of tradition, a subtle reminder that heritage does not need to be rejected to be redefined. And amid all this, the ribbon-wrapped gift stands like a lighthouse of thoughtfulness, catching the eye the way love catches the heart. Nothing here is staged, everything here is alive. What makes this moment so sensational is not simply what we see, but what we feel through it. Meghan's post is more than a photograph. It is an invitation into their intimacy, a whisper from behind the curtain that says, "This is who we are." A husband who brings home gifts not for spectacle but for love. A wife who feels cherished enough to share her astonishment. A child who grows in an environment of wonder, allowed to receive surprises not as royal duty, but as simple joy. And the world, hungry for authenticity, finds itself feasting on this honesty. The internet, of course, has exploded in praise, for how could it not? In an era where the cold machinery of monarchy often reduces human beings to figureheads, here stands the Sussex family, reminding us that the real story worth telling is love lived daily. This is why Meghan is sensational. Not because she commands attention, but because she transforms attention into inspiration. Not because she stages moments, but because she elevates reality into something worthy of admiration. By sharing this glimpse, she has once again shown that the true power of a public figure is not in the jewels they wear or the ceremonies they attend, but in the ability to connect with others through sincerity. And let us return, again and again, to those words. Morning surprise from my husband. Each syllable glows like polished wood under sunlight. Morning suggests freshness, new beginnings, the optimism of a day untouched by cynicism. Surprise suggests spontaneity, delight, the kind of love that is active, creative, never stagnant. From my husband is a declaration of possession, not in the material sense, but in the sacred sense. This is my partner, my companion, the man who stands by me. And then that emoji, the smallest mark yet the loudest cry. It tells us she is moved beyond words, so deeply touched that language fails her, and only a symbol of teary-eyed awe can suffice. Everything about this caption is praiseworthy, because everything about it is real. The beauty of this glimpse is that it will outlive the moment. For those who saw it today, it is a reminder that love is alive. For those who will stumble upon it tomorrow, it will be proof that Meghan and Harry's journey is not one of exile but of triumph, not of loss but of gain. And for Lilibet herself, someday grown, this glimpse will be a time capsule, a memory of how her parents poured love into her life, in ways both small and grand. She will see how the world praised her joy, how her mother's words carried the resonance of poetry, how her father's gesture spoke of devotion, and she will know she was raised in a love story that generations will continue to tell. And so, we praise it all. The kitchen, bathed in golden light, the roses blooming with dignity, the copper pots that whisper of tradition, the polished floors reflecting a family's journey, the ribbon binding a gift like a sacred promise, the black and white portrait, timeless and eternal, the caption that sings like a verse of gratitude, the emoji that closes the sentence like a sigh of the heart, the pajamas on Lilibet that remind us she is free to be a child, the outstretched hands of a little girl reaching for joy, the thoughtfulness of a husband who knows that love is in the details, the elegance of a wife who transforms a glimpse into a universal story. This, then, is the sensational Meghan Sussex moment the world cannot stop admiring. A morning surprise, a husband's devotion, a child's delight, a wife's gratitude, a home alive with warmth. Nothing more, nothing less. And yet everything we need to remember that true royalty is not about crowns or ceremonies. It is about love, shared freely and sincerely. And in this single glimpse, Meghan has reminded us that love, when real, is always sensational. To all my curious family, thank you all for watching. And do not forget to subscribe, like, and put a comment. Bye-bye, see you then in the comment section.